contains some violence and adult themes. Channel 7 recommends viewing by mature audiences.
Previously on City Homicide.
I'm Juliet Gardner from the Tribune. I'm doing a feature on Dane Majors.
So you're saying Bruce Dalton and Nick Buchanan set you up?
They planted evidence.
Dane Majors murdered my daughter. He beat her to death with a golf club.
That evidence, it was straight up. Now, you ought to know, mate, because you found it after you sent me there.
If I were you, go back to the source and make them tell you exactly where they're getting their info from.
Who's this?
My name's Tim Paget. I worked with Juliet.
We need whatever evidence is in that envelope.
Wouldn't it be easier just to read tomorrow morning's edition? I just need to know, Bruce. Did you kill Juliet Gardner?
I didn't mean to shoot the girl.
This is not just a suicide, Nigel. This is a hand grenade.
It now appears that Mr. Majors was convicted and sentenced on the basis of false evidence.
I should have dealt with this 10 years ago, but I didn't. That's my resignation.
Is being released from jail as we speak.
Come on, Dane. Dane, you happy that you're free?
Dane, how do you feel about the cops who framed you?
Welcome home, mate.
Dane, are you innocent?
Dane, how does it feel?
How does it feel?
Yeah, mate, how does it feel right now?
Like the first time I walked out onto the ground at the G for an ashes test. I'm pumped. It's great to see a crowd.
We love you, Dane!
G'day, mate.
How do you feel about a retrial?
What's your first meal going to be?
My first meal? Now, that's a good question. That'll be a beer. But on a serious note, I say bring on a retrial. This time I'll be found innocent because I am innocent.
You're a liar. A liar and a killer. You murdered my daughter, you prick.
I was set up.
You won't get away with it, Dane.
As directed by the Attorney-General and the Chief Commissioner, we will be reopening the investigation into Tani Major's murder. We start fresh.
We don't rely on old information. We conduct our own investigation anew.
We consider maybe an unknown intruder that killed Tani, or we consider that it might have been someone else close to her that did it.
And we also consider the most obvious theory, that Dane Majors beat the crap out of his wife.
Well, sir.
Hey, look, OK, yeah. The evidence was planted, the verdict was tainted. That doesn't mean he's innocent. Most likely story, some dickhead cop got overzealous and now we've got a murderer walking free.
Yeah, well, this isn't a witch hunt. After all these years, Tani Majors deserves the truth.
All right, what have we got so far?
10 years ago, Dane Majors made this call to Triple O.
Police, what's your emergency?
She's dead.
Okay, sir, calm down. Who is dead?
I need some help.
Sir, who's dead?
Someone's killed my wife.
I'm going to give you your details now. What's your address?
Help me, someone's murdered my wife.
Just calm down and give me your...
Homicide responded to the call. Detective Senior Sergeant Dalton and Detective Senior Constable Buchanan attended the scene. This is what they found. Dane was treated for shock and then cleared for interview.
Can you tell us what happened tonight, Dane?
Went for a drive down to the beach. Came back and found Tani.
Would it be fair to say that we took your clothes off you at home?
Yep, you took my clothes.
We tell you why?
Because they were covered.
Did that blood come to be there?
I tried to help her and tried to give her CPR.
CPR?
I didn't know what else to do.
Tell me. Did you ever fight with your wife tonight, Dane?
No.
No, you didn't have a fight?
No.
So everything was just a normal, happy night at home?
Yeah. Yes, it was.
What would you say, Dane, if I said that your neighbours had reported hearing raised voices tonight?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you a series of photographs. This photograph shows bruises to her wrists consistent with being restrained. This photograph shows bruises to her face consistent with being hit with a clenched fist. Dane, did you beat your wife tonight, Dane? You have to speak for the tape. Did you beat Tani tonight?
Yes, I hit her. That was it. That was it. I went out in the car afterwards to cool off, and when I came back, that's how I found her. She was dead already.
You expected people to believe that.
So what else have we got?
The elusive 5-iron. It was missing from Dane's golf bag on the night of the murder, and the pattern on Tani's skull matches the pattern on the golf club.
Pretty solid case.
Especially when they found the golf club in Dane's roof in the middle of the trial.
Tani was dead for an hour before Dane called 000, so the theory is that he had time to clean the golf club and stash it in the roof before calling the cops.
He still looks pretty tasty to me.
You guys took your time. I've been out for hours. Beginning to think you'd forgotten me.
We're here to ask you a few questions about the night that Tani died.
Of course you are.
We're reopening the investigation into your wife's murder. Not exactly, Dane. Dane?
And this little chat's over. Although you're a lot easier on the eye than your mates who locked me up. You know, I was interviewed for days by those ugly pricks. Oh, sorry. One of those pricks is a mate of yours, isn't he? Nick Buchanan.
We're here just to ask you a few questions.
You want to know what happened? Read the trial transcripts. Better still, watch the tapes of my police interviews. I mean, it's heartbreaking viewing. Honest cricketer framed by crooked cops. I'll make a great movie.
We've seen the tapes, Dane. If we're going to do this properly, we need a fresh eye. New cops.
Pretty, but full of it. You expect me to believe a word any cop says after what your mates did to me? Go on, take a walk. Please.
OK, but at some point we are going to need you to come in for further questioning down at police headquarters.
You really want to know what happened, do you, sweetheart? I came through that door and found my beautiful wife lying there.
And then you tried to carry out CPR, even though her skull had been crushed.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking straight. I panicked. What would you have done?
I wouldn't have hit her in the first place.
You're going to have to do better than that. I've been sledged by experts.
Yeah, and some of what they said was right.
We might leave it there for now. What's going on?
Nothing, Dale. Just dealing with a dickhead. Not you, sweetheart.
Detectives Mapplethorpe and Freeman. Good for you.
And you are?
She's none of your business.
You should be ashamed of yourselves coming here today.
Don't worry, Dale. They're leaving.
We'll see ourselves out. We didn't recognise her at first, but it's definitely Narelle O'Brien. She was Tani's best friend, another cricket wag. She was married to former Vice Captain Callum O'Brien.
And prison logs show that she visited Dane twice a week after he was sentenced.
Do we know if they were seeing each other before Tani's murder?
Well, no one suspected at the time. Nothing came up in the trial, but...
Either way, it gave her reason to want to bump off her best friend. She was in love with Dane. She wanted him all to herself.
OK, so she's got motive, but do we buy her as angry enough to bludgeon Tani with a golf club?
Yeah, I think we do. Police report. 2 years ago, Narelle was charged with assault. This is what she did to one of Dane's fans.
Oh, here we go. She came at me. I pushed her away.
Big push.
Why were you around our house in the first place?
Because she was sending Dane nasty letters in jail. I was your #1 fan and you let me down. You deserve to die for what you did to Tani. It was really getting to Dane.
So you asked her to stop?
Exactly.
And it got a little out of control.
How are they going?
Yeah.
It's warming up.
In her witness statement, she says, I was scared for my safety and my life.
Narelle O'Brien threatened to kill me if I contacted Dane again.
Were you always this protective of Dane?
What do you mean?
Were you in love with him while he was still with Tani?
Oh, get stuffed.
When'd you start seeing Dane?
Not until after the trial. After I'd split with Callum.
After Dane was convicted of murder.
Yeah.
Romantic.
Why'd you and Callum break up?
Oh, he didn't like me visiting Dane in jail. Reckoned he was a murderer and didn't deserve our support. They were supposed to be best mates, and Callum just turned his back.
And what made you so sure he was innocent?
Oh, I wasn't at first. But I knew even if he had done it, he didn't mean it. It was just an argument that got out of control. She didn't just say that.
Your best friend had her skull bashed in, Narelle. That's pretty out of control.
Well, you should have seen him after he got sentenced. He was devastated. And then he grabbed my hand, looked into my eyes, and told me he didn't do it.
And you believed him?
100%. Turns out I was right. Those cops framed him. Dalton and Buchanan.
You went through high school with Tani, didn't you?
Yeah.
Must have been pretty hard for you being a friend.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, she was a gorgeous model. Everyone would have loved it, right?
Yeah.
And then in all the glossies, it was always Dane and Tani. She was a media darling. That didn't make you jealous?
No, I didn't get jealous. Tani wasn't as perfect like they made her out to be. She could be a stuck-up princess. And she was always nagging Dane.
You don't think she deserved Dane, do you?
No, actually, I don't. But I didn't kill her. And if that's what you think, you should just come out and say it, bitch.
Narelle O'Brien. I should have seen it.
Well, there was no evidence that she was seeing Dane back then, and her violent behaviour's only just surfaced.
Yeah, but she's been seeing him in prison. I could have followed up, made the connection.
We can't follow up every case we work, Nick. You know that. You presented a solid case to the DPP and a jury found the guy guilty.
On the basis of crank evidence.
Yeah, but you didn't know that.
Yeah, well, I should have. Anyway, you've heard it all before.
Okay, fine. Yeah, you should have. It stank. The timing. I mean, you found a murder weapon in the middle of a trial.
That's right.
Okay, so why didn't you question it? I mean, really, why didn't you question it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It was 10 years ago. I was new to homicide. I didn't want to question my superiors. Take your pick out of any number of lame excuses.
And you presumed Dalton was straight?
Yeah, that's right.
And how could you be sure?
I couldn't be sure. If Stanley Wolfe had sent you to a crime scene, would you suspect him of planting evidence for you to find?
It wasn't Wolfe who sent you.
Dalton was my mentor. I trusted him. What do you want me to say, Jen?
I want you to say it wasn't your fault. I want you to tell everyone that you didn't know that golf club had been planted. I want you to stop sitting around here beating up on yourself. I want you to withdraw your resignation. You are a good cop, Nick. You are one of the best. And you fought for a lot of people on the job. Now you've got to stand up for yourself.